eyes go blind in a million sockets. This life's unkind and she's killing the softest. Can't sleep at night cause the voices are talking about something I wrote. I'm clutching my throat, gasping for air. I won't choke, I can't bleed, I can't die, I won't scream if I lose everything. Don't follow the flash, approval, decrypt a bloody knuckle till I break out the sarcophagus.
Come here, come closer. We're here. It is Friday. We are back on the BC WrestlePod channel for the Biconics Review of Honor. It is a fun tradition we've started here because it's the only fun thing we're getting out of Ring of Honor over the last half year. But in general, we're happy to have you here on the BC WrestlePod channel. That is Mikey. That is Andrew. I am JVL. We are missing Jesse tonight, but it's okay because we have some important things to talk about, and he doesn't need to put this through his head to watch ROH and make himself more angry. If you haven't already, subscribe to our channel. Make sure you hit that alert bell so you have all that stuff set for you there as well. Make sure that you go to our Patreon and subscribe there, I guess. Maybe we get some extra stuff that's coming in there soon. We have some merch. And in general, the merch right there, our Squatch t-shirt, which Andrew is lovely modeling for us there. But in general, we're just here to kind of talk through Ring of Honor for the week, our thoughts on different matches, different things that went down, how much we're disappointed with where the brand has gone, why we want it to be better, how it can't be, and why Andrew is leaving us because of ROH.
It's all ROH's fault.
No, it's honestly because Andrew is being a good family person, spending time with his son, and honestly, we're happy that you're doing that. And obviously, it'll just be Mikey and me from now on, the original two, because Jesse's going to ditch us as well until we just stop watching ROH altogether and start watching Mystery Wrestling once a month. It'll be great. Yeah, so we were watching episode 79 on Honor Club from this week, and this is the first production outside of the Texas residency that they had, and they're as we said, about 2 weeks behind on taping. You can see the cobbling together of things. But one thing I wanted to bring up for this show before we get into it is that since it's your last day, Andrew, I would, for at least for a while, I would love to get you not only going over matches, because we do that every week. I want to get your feel, having jumped into this with us, watched Ring of Honor for as long as you had now, where you feel it's gone, and do you think that there would be a way for you to want to come back and watch it once you're back from your hiatus?
I mean, I think it's clearly gone down a bit. When I first came in, it wasn't really at the beginning of Athena's peak, but it was still early enough on. And there was a lot of excitement going on. There were a lot of names that I recognized either from Ring of Honor before it got, encompassed by the Khan umbrella. And then names that I recognized from outside of that world as well. And it was exciting. It was fun. There was a lot of hope for the different divisions. there was so much hope, in fact, that not only did we have Athena, who was on the road to become the longest reigning ROH champion, period, and really the person that's been carrying the show for such a long time, that they implemented a Ring of Honor World Television Champion for the women as well. It looked like Ring of Honor was on the precipice of building to its full-fledged potential. We were building up to Supercard of Honor, and everything was looking great. And since then, it has really become. It feels like it's the fourth show of AEW and the third show of Ring of Honor behind Collision and Rampage. Yeah. So I think the only way that they're going to come out of this is I think they need to really reassess the way that they run everything within the company, and especially within Ring of Honor, where it actually fits if they want it to be an actual show. Because right now it kind of is, it's kind of the cobbled together pieces from AEW thrown in with, oh, well, let's just get together and do some more wrestling.
Do you feel they've gotten complacent because it is a subscription service? So really the people that are watching it are either hardcore fans or people that have to do it for aggregation. So they're not catering to actual people that may want to like tune in to watch it or get involved with it.
I mean, it's hard to say because, you know, I'm not sure what it's like to go and watch a Ring of Honor show live, especially if you're lucky enough to see multiple of them live. So I don't know what the structure, how they build that structure is and how that feels as a full-fledged show. So it's hard to know because we never get to see the true product. We don't ever get to see a recording of what they did on the night from start to end, and see what that's like. And I think that's definitely something that hurts them. And I think that falls in line with whoever's responsible for editing together the show. Those things are just not meshing well, and they're not giving us a complete product that they could.
Mikey, you smiled there for a second because you have seen Ring of Honor live, at least taped one show. Were you looking to speak to what that experience was like?
So, I mean, the structure of it was really weird because we got a couple matches. Then we also got the Collision taping. We got the rest of the recording. So again, ROH matches, Collision taping, more ROH matches. So it was set up weirdly.
Broken up with Collision.
For sure. I enjoyed myself. I thought it was fun. There were a couple matches that never made air, but for good reason. So, especially because I saw injuries happen live, which was unfortunate.
I think something that they could benefit from, and I hate to say this because they were at a point where ROH should have been up there with AEW, with WWE, with TNA, NXT, all those things. You could have had it be a solid product like that. They would benefit at this point from treating it like AEW Dark and Dark Elevation. When I went to see a show with Professor, we went and saw an AEW Dynamite show. And beforehand, they recorded AEW Dark, and they ran the entire thing before it. And it was kind of like the opening act if you went and saw like a concert, but it didn't have that much of a different feel to it. The biggest thing was there were less people in there watching, and the names were just not necessarily as big. And there was some slight different structure in the fact that we didn't like all of a sudden we were just like hanging out and people were talking to us because we're on a commercial break. So it was built like a whole show, and it was just done beforehand. And then we just kind of switched over to be like, okay, here comes, the next act, the big show that you came to watch. And I think that's how, at least one way that they could benefit Ring of Honor.
I agree with that. Having some sort of cohesion with where it is, although that precludes the taping schedule they're doing now to give people ability to have storylines, because that was the one thing with that model they ran for a while was you couldn't really build a story because somebody could get injured or something would happen here and then they had to be in another town or something else. So you ran into the problem of having too many people and not enough story. But I don't know if it's one thing that can be fixed, but I think you're right, Andrew. There needs to be a wholesale change of how they run this company in order to make it work. Now that we've got that out of the way, we'll go quickly through this stuff because, again, it was a longer bit of an episode, but honestly, it was the same match over and over for most of it, which was sad to say. Our first match wasn't as much the same. Athena took on Aaliyah James in a training or proving ground match, and you know what? It's the women's squatches. We get better moves, maneuvers. There's a little bit of back and forth. Did you feel Aaliyah James lived up to her billing against here as jobber to Athena, jobber to the stars? Either one of you?
Yeah, I mean, it was what it was. I feel like I've seen this match many times before, and that's nothing to knock against either of them, but there's only so much that they're going to do in a proving ground match, and we all know what the outcome's going to be, especially in this scenario. Like,
yeah,
if it was somebody that we knew that was getting this proving ground match against Athena, like a Rachel Ellering, or someone like that, you know, you'd have me believing that there's some potential there. And you know, I've had issues with proving ground matches, but mostly it's the same issue I have with Ring of Honor in general, is the fact that you have so much potential in the format and structure there, but you use it so poorly.
It's overused because you don't want to do anything else, which is pretty much the same. And Mikey, we then had we had the storyline fleshed out, so to say. Abaddon makes an entrance as Athena is not letting go of her submission on Aaliyah James, and we get Billy Starks taking out Abaddon with a belt shot, but Lexi taking credit for it. Do we see dissension in the ranks, or are they just teasing us again?
No, absolutely. We're seeing dissension in the ranks. Like, this is setting it up. And what's probably going to end up happening is that I feel that Billy will face Abaddon first, and then Billy will lose to Abaddon. And then, you know, the further to dissension, I honestly think we are building to a Billy Athena, like, blowout match, if not soon. I would not be surprised if they stretch this out to final battle.
Do you feel? Do either of you feel like she's going to be the one to finally break her streak?
Yeah,
I hope so.
I feel like it makes the most sense. You gave Billy the chance to be the first ever Ring of Honor Women's World TV Champion,
Which they defended now.
I was going to say, which they've done nothing with since that. I mean, we haven't seen either of the people that were involved in that storyline. And it makes sense with the story that we've gotten with Billy and Athena to this point. And if Athena's going to drop the title, like, someone who would benefit from that very well would be Billy. Billy being the one to dethrone Athena, who's been there this whole time, hold that world title for a while. It'd be great to see her in that position. Maybe she comes out as a face in that situation and we get a face champion for a while. And we know that she can get the fans behind her, especially if she comes through this phase, defeats Athena and becomes the champion. And I don't know if that means that Athena moves off of Ring of Honor and goes to AEW. While I wouldn't want to see her be lost in that shuffle, I would hope that would mean that their plan is to put the Ring of or the AEW Women's Championship on her, which would be smart if they were going to move her away from Ring of Honor.
I fully agree with that. Mikey, would you want to see a Billy Starks title run?
Oh, absolutely. Like, again, as Andrew said, that makes the most logical choice, and I would be here for it.
As we do our Billy Starks outro every time, so that's always good there. We move away from probably the best put together storyline going on in AEW right now to a nothing match. Now, Andrew, you talked about this earlier. One of the participants in this match, Sydney Akeem, had just had an amazing match over the weekend, but here taking on Johnny TV with Taya Valkyrie in a... Was it a squash? Because he got an entrance, so I don't know if it was a squash, but they didn't debut any of his skill that I saw.
It didn't feel like it. It felt more like, especially because the way that the victory was picked up, you know, you had a low blow and some shenanigans going on. I always feel like when you have that happen, that it's in a way protecting the person that lost, because you're like, look, they didn't outright lose, and he got in some he got in a high volume of offense against Johnny TV. The interesting thing that I saw from this was it felt like Johnny TV was struggling a little to keep up with or match the rhythm of Sidney Akeem.
I saw that too, where he there's not many times you see Johnny TV like he's lost his step, but this was definitely something where something was off that night.
Well, and when he missed that Starship Pain the first time he went for it, like I had to go back and watch it because it looked like he spiked himself on his head. I think he came down more on his shoulder because when he does it, it's more like a senton type delivery.
If he gets all the way around, yeah.
Yeah. But it had me worried there for a moment. And like you said, I've been watching Sidney Akeem actually since he was in NXT and the other federation. And then to see him in GCW, he's had phenomenal matches every time he's come out there, and the speed that he's worked at has been off the chart. So it was interesting to watch this. And I mean, Johnny TV has been doing this for a while, you know, so I mean, he's not, don't get me wrong, I will never be in the shape that Johnny TV is in, but he's not a spring chicken, you know. He's wrestling in there, and there's going to be guys in there who are, you know, 20 years younger than he is. Right. So I think that could have played into it as well. I will say
we all know Taya's tongue is the fountain of youth. It's keeping him young, but still,
it's what he gets those abs from. But they did mention MXM when Johnny TV was coming out, and it was funny because there was a part of me going, you know, I could see them all working together. Like that could be kind of hilarious.
Honestly, if it was given the time and they actually cared about ROH, that would be the backup Johnny TV would need against Dalton Castle and the boys.
Yeah.
It's just camp on camp.
Yeah.
But we haven't gotten there yet. But you're right. Overall, I would like to see more from Sidney Akeem. It didn't feel like this was a signing for ROH as much as just kind of a one-off deal when they were out there doing their stuff.
Yeah, I wonder. I'd have to look at the dates and everything, and because you know we got Sidney Akeem, and then later on we got Blake Christian, who both of them have been regular in GCW. I wonder if this was a case of like being in the same area and getting to do some more work. But yeah, it definitely felt like, hey, here's someone from somewhere else that's good. Let's get them in and give them a match.
As opposed to a man who got very little work, which was Ozzy, as he was thrown down the ramp by Lance Archer and completely steamrolled through in less than 2 minutes. I don't think we need to go into this match. This is a Lance Archer match. We get why they do it to him, but he's got nothing holding him up. No. Which got as much airtime as the promo afterwards was Shane Taylor and Lee Moriarty running down Angelico. Again, I feel like Moriarty's outgrown Shane Taylor and he doesn't need him anymore. Like, let the man talk, right?
Yeah, you know what this reminds me of is when you watch the movie where it's like a fighting movie, like boxing or something like that, and you've got the person who's going to be the champ, the prospect, the person who's coming in to be the hero of the piece, and then his older brother is the former boxer or whatever, who's like kind of his coach and cornerman and that kind of thing. And I feel like that's the point that we're at, where it's like kind of vicariously living through, you know, the younger sibling kind of a thing. And I just don't find it as interesting as what we could potentially get from Lee Moriarty kind of venturing out on his own, especially with this title.
Well, and the other part is like, I don't think that ROH has written that as a storyline to be the case. It's coming off that way.
Yeah.
But I think they're trying to write it as like they're on the same page and it's just not reading. And do they lean into that fact then? Like, because they're custom making it there, or do they try something else with this? Do they let him go?
I mean, I think there, you know, again, this is storytelling that they would have to do, but I think there is a great opportunity to put something in there where there becomes some, you know, some dissension. Either you can go with what you would expect and you tell the story of, you know, the friction coming between the two of them and one of them turning on the other or walking away from the other, whatever the case is, which could lead to an interesting situation where, you know, maybe they end up in a pure match and Shane Taylor's got to figure out how to beat Lee Moriarty in a pure match if he wants to like prove that he's actually better, which you're talking about a guy who's known for punching people.
Close fits.
Yeah. And so, or you flip it completely around and you have Lee Moriarty come out as the one that's like, dude, you need to refocus and like figure out what you're doing. Like, and, you know, be the one that kind of reorients Shane Taylor and get us into a new track that way. But
Right.
I have no idea if we're going to actually get any development with this.
I don't believe it. Mikey, do you even see a need or reason for them to continue pushing down this path with Lee Moriarty, or cut him loose? Okay. We'll take the no. We then get
No.
our go ahead.
That is all I
Perfect. We are still a bit choppy there, but it's all right. We do then get. This is what gets me about this next match. There's many things about it that are odd. Mina Shirakawa taking on Rachel Ellering. Both get their entrances. It's wonderful to see Mina working. Rachel's an amazing worker. The match itself, pretty well put together. A couple of botchy places, and both of their tops were falling off during it, which was tough. But what got me was this obviously was filmed before Mina won the title in Rev Pro, but they got to mention that in a commentary. And this is also before you saw Rachel sitting next to Mina at All In Wembley, like sharing a popcorn, doing these things. So the broken kayfabe or the things that are going on are ruining ROH 2 weeks out. This is the danger we talked about before, where they don't do the same thing as TNA. How does TNA do it better, you guys? Like, how can they pull that off?
Writing. They know what they're going to do in advance, and they put the shows together that way to fit that. I mean, they're able to do it and still mention another groups, another federations, promotions, you know, current active things that are happening in that show with title changes, with challenges. I mean, both TNA and this other promotion have shows this weekend. Like, one is tonight and one is on Sunday, and they were able to talk about the developments of both of those shows, even though the episode of TNA that aired last night was filmed previously. And so they're able to plan those things out. It's that long-term thought and storytelling.
Mikey, same to you, like, because you both watched this, so.
I mean, it's essentially just writing, and we know the direction that we're heading in, and it just makes sense. Like, literally, there's a pay-per-view tonight, and we've been building it up for the last 4 weeks. There's a lot of multi-person matches on this card, but you know what? It all makes sense in the direction we've been heading post Slammiversary. Like, it's not that difficult. I'm just saying, ROH, like, just call us. We will help out. Please, just let us do it. Please.
We do respect the brand. We'd like it to succeed with the people that are there. Please stop killing it. Okay. I will fully admit, after the Mina, Mina win, and Rachel then gives her the sign of respect, albeit grudgingly, I got a little continuity hog again because Taya comes out in a full bodysuit like she was in Texas. She's not in the one she was just in. Guys, you're editing this. You have the ability to put together matches that work. Can you give them maybe a match in between for Taya to change? Because that's like, she has to pour herself into every one of these outfits. Like, it's not easy to get those on and off.
I mean, you know what it felt like? It felt like when we saw her before, she was in her like managerial gear, and then she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go attack somebody, so I got to put on my bodysuit and like my combat gear."
Well, her hair changed, like she did her hair again.
But she had to put it up because she's about to go out and fight someone. So it felt like going from like Bruce Wayne to Batman. She had to put on her super suit.
She went from Mrs. TV to Taya.
Yeah.
Oh my God. You know what? I'll go with that. If we can get a little bit of storyline out of that or something else that makes sense to me, that's perfectly fine. Also, Rachel having to grudgingly give respect to her opponents every time now. I thought they were building her up as an Athena, adversary here, but she keeps losing to everybody. Again, this seems like WWE from the 2010s. How do you build somebody who's going to be a championship contender?
I mean, it seems like we already have our next challenge to the title, which is going to be Abaddon. And then it would make sense that with the other stories that's going on with that Billy's going to be involved in there somewhere. The fact that we haven't seen Queen, we haven't seen Red Velvet, we haven't seen a lot of the ROH women's division.
Right.
Are we actually building anyone or not? Because I mean, it kind of seems like we're not. So I mean, I don't know. If you're not going to use Rachel in this to go after Athena, let her go after the TV title. Red Velvet needs somebody because she's not doing anything else.
And she'd be an amazing TV champion. She's proven that. Mike, you feel the same way about it?
Yeah, I mean, I like this match. I can't say I love Mina and Rachel both. I do agree. It just sucks that Rachel's losing. But yeah, I mean, if you're not going to have Rachel feud with Taya in some capacity or whatever you want to do, because I feel like Taya also deserves to have something going on than just being there and Mr. TV's like arm candy. I don't know. It's just really weird who we're pairing, people up with. And we'll talk about Rachel later in the episode because I don't hate either women, but I just feel like they don't need to be feuding because it's kind of weird in a way. Like everything is just like weird in terms of everything. And I know we're 2 weeks behind when these things were actually taped and whatnot, but I'm like, come on now. Like you got to have some semblance of what you're doing. You had a whole month and a half in Texas. You should have made it count.
It seems like they haven't. Just like our next match, which I went to the bathroom for this one. It's the same match I've seen every time. It's Top Flight as a trio squashing a local group, Ace of Space Academy. And while they all do amazing work in the ring, it's just nothing was, I guess, not new, but just I don't feel like there was anything that drew me into this because we saw this last week, didn't we? Or the week before, or it certainly feels that way.
Yeah. I mean, what's going on with any of this? We've seen in the past the roster that ROH has of people who have been there and been a part of like building them up. But it seems like what they got from what they've been doing was, oh, well, we've already done that. So let's just do let's have them not face each other because they've already faced each other, like the tag teams and the singles competitors and things like that. But we need to be seeing them face each other so we can actually have people build up to go after the titles that, the Made in Texas team holds, which who knows when we're going to see them actually do anything with those titles, other than appearing in, All In, AEW All In as a quad of wrestlers. But I would have rather have seen any other trios face against Top Flight or, break them down into a tag team and face them. We have so many tag teams in Ring of Honor that they could face off against, but everybody's busy off going doing other things. So it's like, okay, who's not wrestling in AEW this week? Okay, you're going to face the local talent.
Meanwhile, also, Mikey, they're dressing like the infantry. Like, is that subtle, or do you think they just wasn't even caring at that point? Because again, I can't trust it.
I don't even know what we're doing with any of these tag teams anymore. I thought we were getting Top Flight versus Infantry in a feud, but, we're not. They haven't really interacted. I mean, you have Top Flight just out here squashing the local talent. Meanwhile, the Infantry right now have been relegated to social media, hosting a show of some sort. And I'm just like, oh God, the signs are not great for any of these folks. Like, what are we doing? It's the same complaint I have about the other umbrella of tag teams. You have all these tag teams, but you're relying on the same ones. And so now that you have new tag team champions, like, let's get something going here. I mean, what is happening? I don't know anymore. I have no energy left for any of this.
Which is even funnier because that's how it felt for kind of the rest of the matches as we went along for this. Like EJ Nduka versus Demo Diamond. Nothing behind it. Like, just, again, showcasing work rate, which, if that's going to be your thing, why don't you put him in the pure division? That's the whole point of the pure division, right? Or am I wrong on that?
I mean, the most interesting thing out of this match was the fact that Duca was facing someone who was close to his size.
I guess so, but even then, like the skill level wasn't there. If you're wanting to
No.
push this guy, like have been better for him to face like Sidney Akeem or someone else who was a little bit more like different style? Or
I don't think he would have. I don't think he would have worked well against Sidney Akeem. He doesn't have the experience to. It would have gotten sloppy. I think. I mean, honestly, I think at this point, like, it's not horrible that they're putting him in this position, because they're, they want to like give a chance for him to like, get some of those reps in there. But I think there are some other people that you could put him in there against. I mean, I hate to do it, but you could put him in there against half of a tag team that you're not using, or hell, you're trying to market him as this huge beast of a person. Have him go against a tag team that you're not using 2-on-1 or something. Like, give us something interesting if you're going to do something with him. Yeah, I think it's just a matter of it's become here's the Ring of Honor roster against the local talent,
as opposed to here's the Ring of Honor roster being influenced by the AEW talent, like our promo with Rachel afterwards, where she gets interrupted by Harley Cameron again, who just got her butt beat not even 2 days ago by, the wonderful Jamie Hayter. I mean, Andrew, you had said beforehand on this, and I think, Mikey, you agreed. Is Harley coming down to get her win back, basically? She's an AEW talent here to beat everybody, or is this something where we can use her to also further Rachel along?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is, I feel like this is another case of getting the reps. Like, they want to build up Harley Cameron, and she's not in a position where she's in the position in AEW where she's the lackey, for lack of a better term. She's going to be taking the losses. She's going to be, causing some problems and all that kind of stuff. And she's going to come down into Ring of Honor and be able to build up and be that, like, the AEW roster person is down here kind of a thing. And I think it's more focusing on trying to get her a chance to build up recognition and experience, more than it benefiting anybody, benefiting Ring of Honor as a whole.
Mikey?
I am having a hard time figuring out what we're doing with the booking. Oh, there's someone at my door. I'm going to get that in a second. Hello. Ding dong. Hello. Bailey, what are you doing here?
Oh, my.
Anyways, no, it's really weird how we're booking Harley. Look, I am one of the few people where I don't necessarily hate her when she wrestles. I am, I'm all for it because she wants to do this. If she's putting in the reps, cool, whatever. It's just weird that this win and loss record of hers, if you're counting everything in AEW and ROH, like who she's actually beaten and who she's not. Obviously, she lost to Jamie Hayter, which, I mean, if she beat Jamie, then I would have even bigger problems with the whole umbrella that this is. But in ROH, Harley has beaten Trish. Like, literally, she beat Trish in front of me live when I went to the taping. Like, Harley wrestled Trish during those tapings, and she beat her. And then to have her continue to win against, like, people I want to see actually, do stuff with in ROH. And then on AEW, she, as Andrew said, she's the lackey, so she's going to be losing there. I don't like booking Harley to win at the expense for more established talent in ROH, and this is where I'm afraid that that's where we're heading. Harley has beaten Trish. I'm afraid she's going to beat Rachel, and, I'm worried that this trend's going to continue where Harley is going to beat other women in this division that we're going to like, but then she's just going to still continue to lose. So I got to go get that. I'll be right back.
I feel like it's DoorDash at this point for everybody here. I mean, this is how good this match went. Like, Mikey's going to leave to get takeout. It's wonderful. On paper, I was actually excited to see Evil Uno take on Jacoby Watts, like actually have a match and maybe like further a couple things. Because they are both kind of cultish leaders, Uno with more things, but he's going in his Mankind phase now, so it looks a little strange. I didn't get what the point of this was because they didn't play anything up for it, and both these guys can do better.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like it was watching improv with people who just weren't really that invested in it or not trying to tell the same story. Like, I don't know what we're doing with Jacoby Watts because we've totally stalled out on that storyline at all. Like, we're not seeing any progression in it, any benefit from it. It's now just kind of a joke about it. The Dark Order has really just become a meme of what they used to be. And I don't know. I want to see the Dark Order just go back into being the not talking, not trying to be funny, go out and just like beat people up, like be that dark and spooky group that just like outnumbers people. I get it, Johnny Hungy, it was funny and all that stuff, but it's been going on for years now, and they're now in the position where they're essentially jobbing out to people. I don't know what's up with Evil Uno's outfit. I don't know like where that came from or how it started.
I don't either, actually.
It's super weird because it's also he's wearing that while the rest of the Dark Order are still in their regular wrestling stuff.
Right.
So it was like, yeah, if they were all doing some variation of that, then maybe there'd be something there. But it just feels super weird. And I think for me especially, I am always thrown off whenever I hear Evil Uno speak because his voice is never what I expect it to be. Like, it doesn't sound like what I expect he's going to sound like. And then when you put him in a white button-up shirt and a tie, it altogether just comes across really weird. It just doesn't mix for me. In this match, there was no point in this. We got nothing out of it. Like, Jacoby Watts, it's not like he fell from grace in some way in this match, and it's not like Evil Uno got elevated in this match. So, like, really, what do we do other than just have them come out and, get some time in the ring?
I agree with you wholeheartedly. Mikey, so what did you get from DoorDash?
I ordered pizza, so that was the thing that's happened. It's been.
I said the pizza's here.
Andrew's on it.
What can I say? It's Friday. Pizzas is here. That is what I was looking forward to more so than the second half of the show. And
so the big question though is, Mikey, what kind of pizza did you get?
Yeah, I'm actually curious.
Okay, so I got Pizza Hut, so that is a thing.
What's your toppings? What kind of
stuffed crust?
I just got a basic pepperoni. Listen, I'm trying to ball on a budget here, okay?
You throw a little olives on there, jalapenos, or some pineapple, spice it up a little,
Pineapples do not belong on pizza. I'm just putting it up there.
Boys, we have to get through the last part of this show. I'm sorry. We can't keep talking about Mikey's amazing pizza.
This is the real reason Andrew is leaving, is we can't agree on pizza toppings.
I'm just saying, pepperoni and pineapple, man. That's the combo.
It's divisive, and you're just literally dropping that bomb and leaving, and we understand.
Hey, you know what? Whatever floats your boat, I am not here to judge, even if you're wrong. Anyways.
He's not wrong, because I used to get that with cheddar cheese as well. I used to have a little cheddar mix in the old cheese things to get a little more salt. Anyway,
it might also be because I was allergic to pineapples when I was younger, so there we go. But
that explains a lot, Mikey. I'm speaking so much.
I'm trying to delay it because I don't want to talk about what's next. I don't.
You don't want to talk about the new wrestler who's on ROH TV that I've never seen before in all my life, that I didn't think could actually do this? Is Josh Woods defeated Barrett Brown?
How the mighty have fallen.
I mean, at least it was better than the other Premier Athlete match, but
that's very true. But let's be honest,
not going to do anything there at all, basically. But yes, you're right. Yeah, no, re-debuting Josh Woods this way after his GCW run, which he recorded this before his GCW run, is just terrible.
This match was just a squash. It did nothing. I mean, if you've watched Ring of Honor, you know who Josh Woods is, and if you know who he is, this didn't excite me in any way. This didn't show me anything new. I mean, we got that new, I guess it's a new finisher, because they were like, we got to find a name for it. But yeah, I mean, throw him in there, get somebody more interesting. No offense. But I would have rather seen Josh Woods squash somebody that like we knew who they were. and have it mean something. But this just felt like it could have been Tony Nese or Arya Davari out there. Like we were just getting another boilerplate match from the premier athletes.
Mikey, do you feel the same way about it?
Yeah, it's just severely disappointing, and yeah. I mean, I'm gonna be saying the same thing for the rest of these matches up until our main event. But I was just like, it was what it was. C'est la vie.
All right, well, we'll go on then. Wow, it's 2 of the matches in a row of top flight people, but on the same night. Obviously, that's what happened here. It wasn't that it was 2 different nights they filmed this on and did other things, because Layla Gray took on Promise Braxton and with everybody else, and I don't. Could we describe this as a good showcase for Layla Gray? I've seen her do better matches where she's lost, basically.
Yeah, this did not feel like her best match. It got a little bit better towards the end, but yeah, I was watching this going, I feel like she's better than this.
I know she's better than this.
Yeah, and the only thing that really like give me a spark of some kind of happiness was the fact that first she came out by herself, and I was like, really? She comes out when it's their match and they don't come out, and then they came out like a few moments right behind her. So I was like, okay, cool. At least we're having the faction come down, support their member and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, this was not a showcase to be like, oh, Layla Gray's the next, next big thing in the ROH women's division.
She deserves so much better. All of they've been like teasing all of these groups with a female member that all seem to deserve so much better. Can we just get like a huge 6-person match right now? Just the add-ons as they basically are to every other faction at this point. Would that be more entertaining at this point?
I would like to see some structure. We have 2 women's championships. We have plenty of women in here wrestling. Let's see some matches that build up these divisions. And they're all interesting characters too, which is crazy. Like, let them go out and actually be professional wrestlers in divisions with storylines, and not just interchangeable pieces that might as well just be the same, create a character over and over again.
Mikey, you're shaking your head the same way on this one. I know you're a big fan of Layla Gray from her work in TNA and other places. How would you use her at this point? What would you do for her specifically that could make it worthwhile?
Well, first and foremost, Layla has never been in TNA. I don't think so. At least the last couple of years I watched.
I thought she had been.
No, Layla was part of the baddies with Jade and all of them. Red, right. Jade, that's and Layla. Yeah. She's been in AEW, but she was part of the baddies with Jade, Cargill, and Red when they were a little faction. Which brings up my point. Again, I agree with Andrew. I feel like we have seen better from her, even in a losing effort. And this just... There are just... Yeah, so, I mean, okay. I have to address this now because otherwise I'm not going to be able to. And I want to get my thoughts in. But Andrew hit on a point. There needs to be structure in ROH. And I think that's what my biggest frustration is right now. Because the biggest problem is that there is no structure that trickles down to no storylines, no character developments, and no consistent booking. It's just a thrown together mishmash of, hey, everybody's here at this particular taping. Let's just tape these things because we can. We have champions, but, outside of Athena and Billy, nobody else is there. We're trying to do something with Lee, but that... Ooh, I almost said something. I'm not going to say it. I'm going to keep it to myself because that's going to cause a riot. But I was just like, it smells like tokenism, but that's a whole different conversation right there. It's just because of the lack of structure that ROH is falling apart at the seams. I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I get more enjoyment watching MLW and NWA than I am with ROH at the moment. And that's saying a lot. That is saying a lot. At least their structure in those 2 companies, for as batshit crazy as some of their decisions are with, owners and talent and things they air on their pay-per-views. Like, I will take that over what I'm getting with ROH because it is just bland, mediocre, and it's like unseasoned chicken. It's just like, what is happening right now?
It's white people wrestling. Anyways,
You said it, not me, but I'm glad you said it because that's exactly what it is. This is geared towards the basic white bitches of the world. But you know, who am I to say?
Latte.
Who am I to say? I am just a Latino who loves wrestling. What does my opinion matter? Apparently.
Well, we also had the battle next of white boy wrestling versus Latino heaviness, as we had Blake Christian defeating Rosario Grillo.
Don't you dare put Rosario and Latino. That was more Italian than anything. That is an insult.
I'm sorry. I was trying to make the connection. It just didn't go as far as I needed to. Either way, Blake Christian again. We saw better matches over the weekend at GCW. We've seen him working other places, Rev Pro and a couple other places. Why is he? Do you honestly believe that he's just coming in to get a paycheck from Tony Khan to keep things going at this point?
I guess. I don't even know. It's weird. Again, you literally have Blake Christian this whole entire year. He's been in this heel persona, which is really fun. And again, yeah, I agree with you, JVL. He had better match at GCW. Joey Janela and Mance Warner killed it in that triple threat in that ladder match, which was nuts. And then he was killing it in the Super Juniors in New Japan. Like, that tournament was showcased him to his best. I don't understand what ROH is doing. Like, again, there is no structure. So Blake Christian's like, all right, I get paid, so I'm just here. Not to say that that's why he's here. Blake Christian, to me, feels like he likes what he does and he has a home in GCW. I just wish that ROH would get their shit together because there are so many independent wrestlers that want to be a part of ROH. There are a few that have stuck around through the thick and thin of the last year and a half since this new version has been around. But again, a lot of wrestlers, and it was the same with other federations years ago. When there is no structure, nobody wants to sign to you and give you 110% all the time. Not to say that that's what Blake Christian wants, but God damn it, Tony Khan, what are we doing? I don't know. I don't care.
I don't either. Anything else from you, Andrew, on this, or just kind of passing it over?
Yeah, I mean, Blake Christian did what he normally does. I don't think he was put in there with someone who was gonna like make him look stellar because he could only do so much. But you know, yeah, it just wasn't nearly as interesting as I've seen him over the last few weeks since he came back to GCW in that world title storyline.
If I'm right, Andrew, because you asked a question in our private chat where this was filmed, I feel parts of it are still from Texas, though they're not talking about it. I think part of it may have been from over in Wales, but I'm not sure because we were using some British wrestlers in there for certain things. So that I feel that they may have done a couple of tapings while they were on the road for that. That's why they were at Wembley and such like that. But hence why Ishii could be on here taking on Arya Daivari. This was a nothing match. This was a nothing burger completely. I don't like Andrew. You talked about this earlier. Where just why would you waste the time of all of us for this?
Yeah, I had zero interest in this match when I saw that it was going to be this match. I had zero interest when they were making their entrances, and I continued to have zero interest as the match continued going. Even the interaction with Mark Sterling at the end and leading to all of that was so, we've seen it happen now week after week. It was so expected, so obvious. It felt like it was just an inevitable part of the match that it was going to happen. So much so that when it happened, it felt like they were like, oh, this is the part where I run into you, or this is the part where I push you into him. Like, it just seemed like it was all scripted instead of feeling like it was all accidental or like, underhanded or whatever. And while yes, it is, I don't want that to be obvious in my pro wrestling.
No thanks. Yeah, no thanks. Mark Sterling is a cancer on everyone he's with right now, just in general, and not in a good way. Like he's a good manager. I feel like he's run his course and just is kind of a death knell for them at that point.
Yeah, I mean I don't have anything personally against him. I don't know enough about him too. But I think honestly, all of them would benefit from, you take the premier athletes, you have them get tired of what's been going on, and they just boot Mark Sterling out, and you have them turn into a beater club where they're just like they're not screwing around anymore. They're not trying any antics. They're just going to go out. They're going to use their numbers to take advantage, their athleticism, their strength, and just beat the crap out of people and take what they want. And you have Mark Sterling go off and manage somebody else. If you want to have him continue on a story with them, you have him find someone who he can use to attack the premier athletes. And then there you go. You got a feud right there going.
Mikey, do you feel like Mark Sterling has lost his way since Jade jumped ship?
Yeah, I mean, the most relevant Mark has been was when he was the mouthpiece for Jade. And honestly, I liked that pairing a lot better than what I'm currently seeing. But this is just a bigger issue that I've had. You know, Ishii is here on his summer excursion, as we called it when Japanese companies send wrestlers over to different parts of the world, you know. And how do I put this? I feel like not just AEW, but ROH to a certain extent, whenever we get these big international wrestlers who are coming over for a little bit to do a stint and to do a residency instead of signing a full-blown contract, as I call it, they're doing like a residency for a little bit. It hurts my soul because it feels like AEW and ROH starts to water down how great they are. And it's unfortunate. Now, granted, of course, you have to change up styles because most Western wrestlers aren't used to the strong and crazy style that comes from Japanese wrestling and things of that nature. Oh, my goodness. But it just frustrates me because I haven't liked this Ishii run since he's been here for the summer. It's like we've watered him down. This is not the Stone Pitbull. This is the Stone Chihuahua. Like, this is not the Ishii who I saw last year, like killing people and throwing people left and right. This is literally, excuse my French, but Ishii is just Mark Briscoe's bitch, and I don't like it. It's like, ugh, yeah. It sucks.
To speak quickly to Nick, who's on our on our live chat right now, we can send him on an excursion over there if you'd like for Mikey to go hone his skills over on your side there. I'm pretty sure all of us would love to come over and say hi to you at some point on your podcast over there, because great stuff coming out of Nick and his partner over there. It's wonderful. Better than we saw on here as we got to our main event, which was, of course, Lee Moriarty taking on Angelico or Angelico. Is he going by Angelico now? Like, it's changed twice, and I can't keep up anymore.
I'm still sticking with Angelico.
Yeah, that's what I've always heard him say, and everyone that's ever referenced it has been because that's what he said, so that's what I go with.
Then we go with that. We got a Pure Rules match as our finisher. We were talking about how we wanted more Pure Rules stuff. But again, Andrew, this speaks to your thing last week where you were saying instead of just throwing the flavor of the week at the champion, have them lose, then you got nothing. We don't get any build of the Pure division at all. Nothing to hang your head on from this at all. I don't think you would disagree with me on that.
No, and this, I mean, it's been the story of our review is their lack of story. This could have easily been built up as, a feud, and instead, and it's things like this that make other aspects of Ring of Honor so frustrating because Angelico goes out, he wins a match, Pure Rules match, and then he goes back and says, I want to face the champion. And then the next week he gets a match against the champion. While this is a company where we have things like proving ground matches and a stipulation that if you win 5 in a row, you can challenge for a title. So people just coming out and being like, oh, I want to wrestle a champion. I want to wrestle a champion. I want to do this. And then just getting it the next week not only negates those aspects of what you could use to build storylines, but it also means we never get a chance to build stories, to build feuds, to have people really come up. And that's areas where they can benefit from to fix all the problems that they're having. We could have built this up as something where Lee Moriarty comes out and he goes, look, I respect you and everything, but you won one Pure Rules match. You got to go out there and prove that you deserve it, face some people and have Angelico come out for the next few weeks. competing against other people in pure rules matches. Then we get more pure rules matches. We get more matches with Angelico and more matches with whoever he's in there facing off against. And you can bring people over from other places. You can have him face other people who need matches in Ring of Honor, and you can have that build up. And the whole time you could have Lee Moriarty watching, studying him, learning, and build that storyline to where then that plays into that match that we finally get. And there's some weight to it. Because honestly, watching this, I know they're both good wrestlers. So this match didn't excite me like it could have if there was some development in it, because I saw them do what I know they're both good at, but that was all there was to it. And since it was so short notice, I also had no belief that Lee Moriarty was going to lose this match.
Mikey, same on you. Like, do you feel like we have a kernel of something here? It's just being completely buried under the fact that we're just throwing it to the wolves?
Again, there is no structure. They're like, yeah, let's throw these matches together because it's a championship match and people will watch that. But I don't care. Like, the wrestling is fine and everything, but you won't. This is professional wrestling entertainment. The word entertainment to its core means that you are trying to find different ways to entertain the people that are giving their time to watch. I love the in-ring work, but you got to make me care about characters and storylines. This was just a weak build and just like, hey, I'm just going to have this match because I challenge you. Okay. And then Angelico losing just cause. And then that does nothing for Angelico. It does nothing for Lee as a champion either. It's just like, what are we doing? I don't know anymore. I'm tired. It's kind of crazy here.
Well, what's crazy is that we've gotten to the end of this finally. And for the last time for a while, I'm going to ask for some empanadas from Andrew and from you, and we're going to get our sitting here. And Andrew, if you have any other parting words or parting shots for Tony Khan or anything else, please feel free to throw them in there. But what was your empanada rating for this?
I give this a 5.
Oh!
And actually, that was my initial score, but the more we talked about this, I'm knocking that down to a 4. This did nothing for me. Like, I could have not watched Ring of Honor this week and not missed anything. There was nothing memorable. There was nothing exciting. If I wasn't someone involved in this kind of stuff, I would have no desire to come back and watch it again. If I was a new fan, this wouldn't get me hooked. If I was a fan of AEW, this wouldn't convince me to watch another show when they have 3 other shows going on. It wasn't beneficial to the performers. It wasn't beneficial to the company, and it wasn't beneficial to the audience watching it. This just did very little for me. The only reason I even give it a 4 is because the people that were doing the work were doing solid work in most cases. And I don't have anything against them because I know there's only so much they can do with what they're given. And it's a bummer because when I first joined these reviews, I mean, these shows were 7.5, 8, if not better, almost every week. And
except for Jesse, yes.
Yeah. But it's a bummer. I hope that when I come back, there's a Ring of Honor to come back to, and that it's where it used to be and not continuing down the path that it's on.
Wow. I mean, I hope so for you too, because there should be a reason for us to watch this at some point. We really hope so. Mikey, your rating for this week's ROH?
So I'm not as nice as Andrew. So I'll just say it and then I'll give my reasoning. I won't try to live to the. I give this a 3. Like, this is a 3 for me. And it's nothing. My 3 comes from not any of the performers, which some people, think that every time we give a low score to these, they're like, oh, you guys hate. No, I never said I hated any of the performers. They are just doing the best they can with the bare minimum that is being provided into this promotion and this company. Like, again, all ROH needs, because I don't know and I can't tell you what happened because we are in the middle of year 2 of ROH. ROH, this version premiered in March of last year. And, all of last year, it was fantastic. I don't know what happened between then and now. I feel that, again, and this is not just... I'll talk about that in a second, Andrew. So... It's just like, and we've always hear reports, not just in ROH, but in AEW, the whole entire umbrella, there is no structure. So there are people coming and going as they please. And unless you're at the top of the bill, you get overlooked. And ROH, unfortunately, feels like the ugly stepsister, the black swan, the middle child, if you will, of everything, and is getting ignored. And to me, it is not that hard. You are literally a multi-million-dollar company. ROH is part of has money in it. You can investors. You have the resources to do it. And when I look between what should be fantastic all the time because of the resources that you're supposedly had, and this, again, Andrew, don't kill me when I say this. I mean this in the best way possible. But I look at GCW. Very independent. They do the best what they can, all hands on deck kind of situation. Why is it that they provide a better show and they give everything they can, and they are, in ballrooms and smaller venues and things like that? Whereas ROH should be producing good quality shows every single week, but it's just like the bare minimum, which is some bullcrap and a slap in the face as a wrestling fan to me.
Stockholders. It's all come down to being a company like that, where you have people that are fully vested in versus actually there for the wrestling.
So it just frustrates me because I see companies all of the time who don't have anything. Sometimes, they pay peanuts to the talent because they're trying to build themselves. But the fact of the matter is that GCW was able to put on one of, if not my favorite show in 2024 of any professional wrestling that I've seen. And that's because everyone gave a shit. ROH management and booking and behind the scenes just doesn't give a shit. So if they don't give a shit, why should I?
To join on that, I also gave it a 3. It just in general didn't draw anything for me. It's not been where it needs to be. My question before we leave because of that is, when Bryan Danielson retires, would you like to see him brought down like Shawn Michaels to run and be the person at ROH? That's his home, ostensibly. Could he not bring it back from the depths?
That's not even a question. Absolutely, yes. ROH needs some sort of figure. It can be a Shawn Michaels, it can be a Triple H, it could be a Bryan Danielson, Bryan. Like, somebody needs to be there.
I will say this, and I'm sure there's some people who can't believe I'm going to say this, but I've actually never been a huge Bryan Danielson fan.
Damn.
It's not that I don't appreciate what he's done or anything like that. He's just never been like my favorite. But I will say I appreciate the things that he does in the ring. I will appreciate how he works with his opponents. And above all else, I will appreciate how much he appreciates professional wrestling and the people that do the work for it. Him being someone who, like you said, has a history with Ring of Honor, but also someone who respects this profession and respects the people who respect it and have that passion for it, is someone who would, that position, whether it's in Ring of Honor or anywhere else, makes complete sense. That once he retires and decides he doesn't want to put his body on the line anymore, and wants to, be able to take that rest, if he wants to stay in the profession and the company, doing a job like that, like, he makes absolute sense to do something like that. And I think hands down, they would be lucky if he wants to take a position like that, because he could be phenomenal in it if they give him the power and the authority to make the changes that need to happen.
So
He'd be the name that could get it. That's the whole point.
Exactly. Danielson would be fantastic, and unfortunately, I don't think it's going to happen now because he's restarting his old promotion too. But at some point, a Scott D'Amore, I would love to see in ROH, because that man also cares about professional wrestling, and he would treat the talent there right. Literally, he made TNA and Impact work the last couple of years with the small roster that they had, and now where it's at, it's just like, it's awesome to watch because he cares about the business. To me, ROH, whoever is doing the behind the scenes stuff, just doesn't care about what we're watching. And again, if they don't care, why should I?
So that's our final, for a while, Biconics Review of Honor with Andrew. For everyone out there, thank you so much for joining us and coming through this episode 79 with us for ROH. We noticed it was a slog. Hopefully we gave you some insight that you don't have to watch the whole thing. You can actually just enjoy what's been coming out of it. Throw some love Andrew's way. Online, here, whatever you can do. He is going to be missed on all of his different reviews. He has such a great mind, and hopefully you'll be sending us your opinions and takes via text from wherever fun place you are, so we at least can include you on this. And we promise we will do our worst impression of you as we read them out loud. So
this time on air and not behind screens. Look for him
in the chat. Look for him in the chat. Look for him out there. Send him your best. We appreciate you and your mind so much here at the Biconics Review podcast, and we hope to see you soon once the fall is over. Hopefully.
Like like they say, it's not forever, it's just for now.
And with that, we're going to let you have the rest of your big long weekend. Thank you for joining us here. We do have a watch along, I believe, for Bash at Berlin. Mikey, is that coming up for WWE?
No. So, okay, let's do some house. Let's do the housekeeping. So, Andrew, this is his last show here in ROH. I get one more show with him on Sunday as he does his final TNA review for TNA's Emergence pay-per-view happening right now as we speak. So that's going to be fun. But to kind of give, as this technically is the end of this particular week of reviews, next week is just as crazy. Sunday morning, we have our WWE review show, Dual Dynasty. Myself, Professor, and Minnie will be doing the go-home shows and also briefly touching upon Bash in Berlin. But stay tuned on Monday evening at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time as we will be diving deep into Bash in Berlin. We have two main title championship matches. There is a strap match happening, which should be very interesting to see because the last one we saw, Ricky Starks almost lost all his pints of blood. So that was kind of crazy to watch. We also have, funny enough, that same Monday morning on Labor Day, I will be reviewing NXT's No Mercies because Emergence, Bash in Berlin, and No Mercy is happening this weekend. It's about to be crazy. But then it just gets wilder from there because on top of our regular AEW reviews, ROH, CMLL, and TNA, we will be having a live watch along next Saturday for All Out. So we are, as that is a Big Four pay-per-view for AEW, we will be watching. We have 4 matches confirmed. Will Ospreay versus Pac. We have Chris Statlander versus Willow Nightingale in a Chicago Street Fight for the CMLL Women's Championship. Swerve versus Hangman 4 in a Mother Tucking Steel Cage. And then, of course, my personal favorite, because I hope this man beats the ever-living daylights out of MJF, but we have Daniel Garcia versus MJF. I need him to square up and just destroy MJF, which would be fantastic. And who knows what else is going to be announced on Collision. So that is what this week has entailed. But, Andrew, I appreciate your love and your time for ROH. Through the good and the bad, you will be sorely missed. And
I am so sorry right now.
I know. See, they're left with me, Andrew. So it's not a great compromise, but we'll try our best.
For this reason with Mikey, it's going to be great. Anyhow, we appreciate you all. We appreciate you being here with us. Give Andrew some love. But remember, no matter what else you do here, stay biconic, and remember, you can finish your story. And we'll see you in the next video. Billy Starks outro.